Hey, Crypto Tips, this is Kent. I know it's been a quick minute since I was on Toby and Heidi's feed here, but what can I say? Life is busy. I wanted to give you guys a quick update. Solana has absolutely been ripping, and it's been really kind of cool to see a thesis that I've had for a couple of years now starting to play out. That thesis has been pretty simple. Is there something that's going to come along and be superior to provide a distributed computing network like Ethereum? And I've thought for quite a while that the answer to that is yes, and I think the market is starting to agree, which is why we're seeing Solana start to rip. I mean, there's a lot of reasons behind that, and I'll give some stats and figures today, but at its core, I kind of want to go back to one of the primary realizations why Solana is likely, in my opinion, to supersede Ethereum. And it's one thing that I think, we've been conditioned as technology's improved in our life to constantly believe that something better is going to come along and replace what we currently are using. And people have tried to apply that to Bitcoin. It hasn't worked, and it hasn't worked because the properties that make money are very rare to emerge out of the marketplace. Gold was the last one. We've used it for 5,000 years, and I would argue that Bitcoin is the next one. But when it comes to technology itself, which is how I view Ethereum, it's a form of technology to enable a global distributed computer. When it comes to that technology, Ethereum was the first, and my hat's off to him for proving the concept. There's more than, I think I was just looking, more than $80 billion that's locked in smart contracts right now. I mean, that's a tremendous sum of money. However, some of the critical infrastructure that underpins Ethereum, the way the blockchain is designed, some of the trade-offs that they've made, has made it incredibly difficult to scale. And we've seen that every time the gas fees go up sharply, everybody on the network starts to complain. And I saw transactions being posted on Twitter in the last couple weeks for thousands of dollars as people are trying to mint NFTs, non-fungible tokens, on Ethereum right now. And that sort of thing, it really leaves a bad taste in users' mouths. So I've been watching this and watching how Ethereum's been trying to scale, and I hope that they could get to 2.0 and really scale the blockchain. But at the same time, it's really left room for a competitive network to come along. And right now, in my opinion, the top competitors are Solana and Cardano, excuse me. And I've sort of decided that Solana is the one that's most likely to get there, and it's I've gone through it in some previous videos that I've done here for Crypto Tips on proof of history and why I think that that's really a special thing and a new innovation in this space. But when you look at some of those fundamentals, really it comes down to, if you're going to provide a global distributed computer, which is what these blockchains are meant to represent, the ability for anybody to run computations globally in a decentralized way through these smart contract mechanisms, you've got to have tremendous throughput, and you've got to have ability to manage lots of transactions. And Ethereum is trying to accomplish that right now by stacking a second layer on top of the first. And it's worked to a large degree. However, that second layer conflicts with the design of proof of stake that's coming next. And so there's all these trade-offs and complexity. And when things get overly complex, I start to scratch my head. I have an engineering background, and just generally what I've seen is over complexity leads to problems down the road. And so that's why I come back to Solana and really see it having this sort of structure at the base level that's simple, drives great throughput and great transactions per second. I think right now, if you go look at the Solana homepage, they boast something like 60,000 transactions per second. I'm not sure exactly what Ethereum is at the moment, since they did EIP 1559, but I know it's still a fraction of that. And what you can see is actually that's starting to catch on. The user experience, the basic building blocks of Solana, they're starting to come online. So in the last month, to give you guys an example, the Solana ecosystem has moved from 1 billion total value locked to 2 billion in 1 month. There's been several NFT projects that have just caught the NFT space by storm, that have launched on the space. And so you're seeing those first NFT projects. You're seeing Radium, which is the biggest player for swaps and pooling of liquidity. You can think of it like a Uniswap if you're used to the Ethereum ecosystem. It's got more than 800 million total value locked in that space. And so what you're seeing is that users are experiencing this high fee environment on the Ethereum side, and in my opinion, that's driving them to look for, hey, where can I have comparable services available? And you go install Soleil or Phantom, the wallet extensions that are available that are the equivalents of MetaMask on the Ethereum system, and people are able to get their transactions completed at pennies, if even pennies, in just seconds. And that sort of user experience really changes people's mindsets towards things. And so I want to come back to that idea about Ethereum being a technology, because being a technology means that something else can come along that can supersede that. Just like from the early days of the internet, Napster was a great decentralized music streaming service that people had, not streaming, but downloading service that went offline. And then what came later was like Spotify. It was a form of technology. Most people probably don't even know what Napster is at this point. But my point is that when you're dealing with technology, it can be superseded. And I think that there's a lot of people in the Ethereum space right now that don't believe that they can be knocked off their horse. And I certainly hope they get things worked out. I'm not a doubter. I'm a fan of the ecosystem and continue to use it. But I think that there is competition coming, and right now I do really see that Solana, with all the primitives that are being put in place, and the transaction throughput, is actually opening up possibilities for even new options to come about. So, one of those options that I see starting to appear is in Ethereum. The idea of liquidity pools with Uniswap has gotten a lot of traction. The main reason why is because it was too hard to actually do order books to do trades. But if you have more throughput, you can actually do order books. And so you're starting to see some of those dynamics show up, and people are used to, from the trading environment, trading using order books instead of swaps. And so I'm curious to see how that plays out, and if the trading community prefers that and starts to adopt it in the Solana ecosystem. I mean, there's a ton of unknown questions here, but at the end of the day, I truly believe that the market and all the actors in it, all operating together, give great clues when you look at price charts. And right now, the price chart of Solana is showing that there's adoption happening. People want this. And the price of Solana, I started tracking it about $4, is now up over $70. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, is it expensive right now? I don't know. But I will give you guys a couple statistics that I've been watching. So Ethereum has got $80 billion total value locked. And so that's all the money that's stored within the Ethereum ecosystem and smart contracts. Right now that compares to Solana's $2 billion. If you look at Solana's market cap, they're currently about, gosh, I forgot what the numbers are, but I remember the ratio. The ratio right now is it's about 20 times less than Ethereum. So if you think that Solana has the ability to outcompete Ethereum, and Ethereum is worth, I think it's $380 billion right now. Sorry if I'm off a bit on that, but if Solana has the ability to overcome Ethereum, then it's going to make up that market cap difference. So from where I stand, my suggestion is, if you've been using Ethereum, you've been using the Ethereum services, I really think it's worth your while to go download the Solette or the Phantom browser extensions, and just give a play around with the ecosystem and see what you think for yourself. See what your experience is. And I think you'll be surprised. So anyway, those are my thoughts right now on Solana, and I welcome feedback. criticism. Of course, I know that people are pretty wedded to the Ethereum ecosystem, and for good reason. It's done amazing things. I just think, keep your head on a swivel out there if you're a full-on Ethereum believer and don't think anything is possible to supersede it, because that's not what we see when it comes to technology. So anyway, this is Kent. Over and out. Thank you guys so much for your feedback and attention today. Cheers.